And all of this is to say, unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first. And when the middle class is strong, America is strong. We will move forward and take on the biggest issues facing our nation. Think about what that means when you remember Donald Trump has openly vowed, if re-elected, he will be a dictator on day one. That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Should never again stand behind the seal of the United States President. Never again. Never again. Here with us today, I know we have a number of Native leaders. And as president, I will tell you, I will always honor tribal sovereignty and respect tribal self-determination. And fight for a future where every Native person can realize their aspirations and every Native community is a place of opportunity. We here, we believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families so that they have the chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, I will continue that work to bring down prices. I will take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging. I will take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families. I will take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. And all of this is to say, unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first. Because you see, Coach Walz and I know the middle class built the United States of America. And when the middle class is strong, America is strong. And while we work to move our nation forward, look, Donald Trump, be very clear, intends to move us backward. Just look, and we're not going back. But just look at his, Tim talked about it. Look at his Project 2025 agenda. It's 900 plus pages. I can't believe they put that thing in writing, by the way. But when you look at it, when you read it, you will see Project 2025 is a plan to weaken the middle class. If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give a tax break to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis. And Arizona, every day you feel the impact of extreme heat and drought. You know this crisis is real. He calls it a hoax. And on top of all of this, if Donald Trump wins in November, he intends to end the Affordable Care Act and take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was? And part of why we are going to win is because we remember and we are smart and we know what's happening. And we're not falling for the gaslighting, and we're not falling for the okey-doke. That's why. So look, America has tried so many of those failed policies before, and like we all know, we're not going back. We will move forward and take on the biggest issues facing our nation. For example, the issue of immigration. So I was Attorney General of a border state. We know our immigration system is broken, and we know what it takes to fix it. Comprehensive reform that includes strong border security and an earned pathway to citizenship. But Donald Trump does not want to fix this problem. Be clear about that. He has no interest or desire to actually fix the problem. He talks a big game about border security, but he does not walk the walk. Earlier this year, everybody here knows, earlier this year we had a chance to pass the toughest bipartisan border security bill in decades. But Donald Trump tanked the deal because he thought by doing that it would help him win an election. But when I am president, I will sign the bill. So Arizona, ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault against hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. The freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, and the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government telling her what to do. And on that last point, understand how we got here. When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overturn and undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did. And now, in over 20 states in our nation, there is a Trump abortion ban. Many like Arizona with no exceptions even for rape or incest. And just yesterday, in a press conference, we got a fresh reminder of what Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda would do. It would ban medication abortion in every state. But we are not going to let that happen because we trust women. And when I am President of the United States and when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedoms for every woman in America, I will sign it into law. So listen, here's the thing that we all know. Here's the thing we all know. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now, the baton is in our hands. Each and every one of us. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. And we who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and red flag laws. So much is on the line in this election. And understand, this is not 2016, and this is not 2020. You know, this time around, the stakes are even higher. And that's because last month, the United States Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. But think about what that means. Think about what that means in this election. Think about what that means. He's been effectively told he will be immune if he's back in the White House. Think about what that means when you remember Donald Trump has openly vowed, if reelected, he will be a dictator on day one. That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Remember that he even called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States. Understand what this means. And let us be very clear, someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the United States President. Never again. Never again. So Arizona, it all comes down to this. We are here because we love our country. We love our country. We love our country, and I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That's how we preserve the promise of America.